Hi, I'm Christie Blatchford, the courts columnist for the National Post and Post Media. You may hear my dog panting. He's just come in from a hot walk outside. So if you hear some exaggerated breathing, it is just my dog. I think it was a week or two ago I wrote a column about a woman named Mandi Gray. She was allegedly sexually assaulted by a man who was subsequently convicted. His name is Mustafa Yuruyar. They were both PhD students at York University and teaching assistants. They met and had begun a consensual, casual sexual affair about 2 weeks before the alleged assault. The judge at the Ontario court level, that's the provincial court level, convicted Yuruyar of sexual assault. But his judgment, in which he made what are called credibility findings, he said, I believe Ms. Gray, I didn't believe Mr. Yuruyar, was so over the top with florid language. He called Yuruyar a rapist at every turn. He disparaged everything about him. And it was 172 pages. I think he wasn't, he just wasn't the sort of outlandish liar that the judge branded him. So he appealed that decision, and at a higher court level, at the Superior Court, the decision was overturned because the judge had been so florid and extreme in his language, and he had failed to explain why he believed Ms. Gray over Mr. Yuruyar. And the thing that offends me, I suppose, about all of this is that though Mr. Yuruyar was not convicted, and in fact at the hearing where he signed the peace bond, as did Mandi Gray, the judge said to him, the presumption of innocence is returned to you with this decision, in other words. And yet Ms. Gray continues to describe herself, as does her lawyer. She's not alone in this, and other women do it too. She continues to describe herself as a survivor, and the obvious inference in describing herself as a survivor is that despite the finding of the court, there was indeed a sexual assault and you survived it. And this is a trend that makes me despair, actually, because what's the point of the criminal court if the purported victims, who have been deemed not to be credible in that case, continue to describe themselves as survivors of a sexual assault? I mean, how do you recover your reputation if the people continue to say that you did what a court found you didn't do? And certainly Mandi Gray is not the only woman who continues to describe herself that way. Some of the original Ghomeshi accusers, for instance, the three women who, there were four in the end, one was also settled by a common peace bond, but the three principal accusers saw Ghomeshi acquitted. He was acquitted of all of those counts of sexual assault, and yet at least some of those women to this day describe themselves as survivors. And I don't think, God forbid, and this is the worst Canadian sin ever, I don't think it's appropriate. Woo! Inappropriate. There you go.